Okay, so I would like to welcome my guest today, Vera Core, originally from Poland, from Wrocław, which is the
It's
city.
Breslau in German.
Breslau in German.
Wrocław in Polish.
And it's also the city that I'm in at the moment. So yeah, and Vera is calling from Norway, and I'm having her here today as an artist, an artist in many ways, as a life artist, as a beautiful photographer, model, working with her voice, a singer, and also a community builder and manager. And today I would like to interview her about how important it is to find your voice on your freedom journey. As you know, all my interviews are about certain aspects of freedom. And if you are right now building your business or on your freedom journey, you might have come across this topic already, how important it is to really find your voice, to stand out, to be seen, to be heard, and to show yourself. Vera has also many experiences with Burning Man culture and community events, and she has a very specific, unique journey in finding her voice. And yeah, I'm very curious about this interview to hear more from her about what can you do to actually raise your voice and trust yourself and your journey. Welcome, Vera. I'm very glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. I already have so many thoughts. Like I want to like rephrase or correct some things, but yeah, it's okay. we take it in the interview. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as you have some things you would like to say here, I would like you to introduce yourself as well to our audience.
Oh, that's a big start, but it made me feel a little bit warm when you were saying all those things, because you know I'm reaching age of 30, and often I find myself asking those questions like, what did I really achieve, or like, who am I, or am I fulfilling my potential? And yeah, when you're speaking about me, I'm like, okay, I'm all those things. That's pretty nice. Yeah. But so lately, I feel like I've been owning a little bit more also my accomplishments, and this has been a big journey. And part of it is just realizing that I'm doing a lot of really important things, but in our world, it often seems a little bit irrelevant, as money becomes this main resource. And a lot of my work is not necessarily money related, because it's I mostly work with connections. And this has been my focus for the last year or so, becoming kind of this bridge between people, and sort of connecting different views, or but yeah, mostly people, just people. So I spent a lot of time on just messenger, or like just reaching out and trying to find out what people need or what they're doing. And I think it's always been my thing, but in this world there's a lot of pressure, or I felt a lot of pressure, I should say, because you know everyone can choose what kind of pressure they want to allow, but I felt a lot of pressure to provide or deliver certain results, and now I'm seeing that that's not as important as I thought, because a lot of results are they're not like, as I see myself now in my community, a lot of people see my value, even though I don't necessarily deliver things I always thought were relevant, such as like physical art pieces, because then I I create one painting, and people who already saw me and what I do find it way more valuable. But I'm kind of here. I'm kind of detracting or leaning towards saying what I wanted to say when you were introducing me. But yeah, that.
Yeah, I hear you there. So there were many interesting things already. I hope I can capture some of them. What I really like about what you just said is that connection seems to be something very, not tangible at first, yet connection is what is running the world if you have a deeper look. And also when it comes to your personal freedom journey, also for the people that are watching or hearing us right now, how important is it to build this connection on your freedom journey? How relevant were connection in your personal development and in your life?
Well, important thing to start with here is that I believe that it's not possible to form any healthy connection if you don't have connection with yourself to a certain degree. And that connection with yourself is basically, in my view, about connecting to your true authenticity of self-expression. And this self-expression, I often talk about it on my. I started this jam sessions now. It's actually called intuitive singing. I had this, but we'll get to that. But I often talk about this self-expression because I believe that in this society, we're talking about like kind of Europe, because I don't have any experience about other communities. But what I'm observing here, both Poland and Norway, is that people I believe people are supposed to connect with their authentic voice, and to do that, I believe that we need to express ourselves in whatever way. If it's speaking, if it's dancing, if it's drawing, or just cooking, if we connect to who we are sort of intended, meaning that we feel that we can be ourselves without criticizing ourselves, but also not being as vulnerable to criticize from outside of us. So in this journey of trying to fit in, we lose a lot of our authentic self. And by losing this authentic self, we are not able to form connections with anyone, because we are so concerned about how we are received that we're not capable of feeling free to connect. So it reflects mostly on, you can see it in the dating scene, and it's very painful to watch for me, because I was also in this pattern that there's certain expectations or things that we're supposed to be or deliver, and then we lose opportunity to connect with someone because we're trying to fit in this frame that is obviously not created from us. And therefore not accurate for our circumstance.
I really like what you just pointed out, and I can relate to that from my own experience. I remember when I started my personal development journey and I booked my first coaching. It was a spiritual coaching, and they taught me how to get out there, how to go live, how to connect with the world, and basically the tonality was, you cannot do anything wrong, just show yourself and you will be successful just by showing up constantly in your own energy. And I was like, okay, that sounds easy. And then I started and I wanted to go live, and I just froze in front of the screen and I couldn't do it. And I was shocked by how many issues I was facing just by this idea of going live, of showing myself to the world. And it took me quite a long time to overcome these fears, and I had not really a clue where to start, and didn't see this web of different connections, why it is that it's so hard to show yourself. What would you say? Why is it so hard to show our authentic self? And what can be in the way? What are you experiencing in your practice and in the way you're working with people? What are the common problems people are facing?
I feel like I often don't directly answer the questions, but
Oh, you do.
I'm just gonna take what I found interesting. Because yesterday, funny enough, we are not funny, like, you know, everything is so connected. But yesterday I had the women's circle, and we actually had the topic criticism. And this is so funny because it's actually really overlapping with what you just said, because we kind of reached this place where we were talking about how we respond to criticism from external and internal, and therefore how this criticism is leading us through our life, when it's actually just a projection of what I said it like yesterday, that basically we're projecting what somebody's future self might think of us. And it's like, when you think about it, it's so ridiculous. Like, I don't even know if this person is thinking that. I don't even know if that person exists. And I still project that this would be the vision of who I am. So it only shows how much we are craving to belong, right? So then if belonging is the thing, then like, how can you truly belong if you're not truly yourself? You can't, because people will eventually reject you in a relationship, any relationship. Is it a group, or, you know, a community, or a relationship with your partner or a friend? The moment you reveal your true self, even to yourself, you will be rejected, because you're connected based on something that is not real, not authentic, not it's artificial creation of what you think you should become. And when you were talking also about your journey, I think the most important, or the hardest part of it, is that you are actually entering this process of like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be real, but who am I? Like, because you all of a sudden you expose yourself to having so many eyes and reflections of self, and you enter this realm of incredible amount of projections. And then all of this is gonna get back to you, because this one person is gonna comment on something, and then you have to stand very strongly in who you are to yourself, to not be affected by those things. And of course, this is the hardest work. Any creator out there is exposed to this, and for me, it was always a very hard journey, but at the same time, I had always this arrogance, or kind of boldness, like, okay, I'm just gonna throw myself into the middle of this, and I'm gonna see what happens, you know, and being terrified still, but just challenging the reality to hit me hard. So I can see, like, how much can I stand, and that gives a lot of power. Like, if you just say something that you really think in the moment and deal with the consequences. Yes, it's challenging, it's difficult, you might be rejected, but it would make you feel like you've expressed what you truly are. And that actually, in the long run, is much stronger profit than just being liked by someone in the moment, you know.
Mm-hmm. So you said, like, throwing yourself in the middle and just getting yourself seen and experimenting with the feedback that you get, can be a way to liberate yourself there in a way from what I hear, right? What I also liked was that the other part that you were saying, and it spoke very much to me when you said, like, exactly that's what I felt at that time when I do go live and I don't know who the other people are watching out there. It is very hard for me, and I'm a projector. If you know human design, there's various categories, but any human, we experience ourselves in relation to somebody else. So if I'm here and I don't know who the others are there who are watching me, I suddenly don't know how to behave in order to be recognized in a certain way. So basically, I do lose the control in that moment about how people see me. And that can become very scary. And I realized that actually I do control a lot of how people what I allow people to see about me, right? Rather than just showing up and saying like, hey, this is who I am. Maybe you like me, maybe you don't like me, who cares? It was more about, oh my God, how do I need to behave? What shall I say? Like this natural feedback that you have in a conversation with one person was missing. And it was very interesting what happened at that moment. So how are you dealing with these projections? And are there any exercises or something that you do train in your courses with people to help them to break through these boundaries?
So I just want to say it's kind of related that I think the one thing to do is or actually two things. One thing that comes to mind instantly is that we as humans, we need to let go of the need to fit, let go of the need to be received in a certain way, because we have absolutely zero control about that anyway. Like no matter what you do and how you behave, people will still see through it. Because like when you think of a job interview, you can present yourself in a certain way, but even in this presentation, you still have this other person, interviewer, still has a huge opportunity to see through the game, and it's very likely that they will actually reject you not for what you presented, but what you're hiding, you know. So it of course depends, but you can't, to a certain degree, you can't like have this frame of behaving and hold it for a long time. Like some people master this, but then they become more and more lonely and more rejected because they are liked for what they're not. But the second thing I wanted to say is kind of like a tip, or what I think is the most important necessary part of connecting to your authentic self-expression. And by that I mean you recognize your thoughts, you know what your thoughts are, you own them, because that's the most important part. You own whatever it is that you do. Just an example, yesterday we were talking about with my girls in the circle talking about being late, and then one of the girls said that she just owned being late somewhere around high school, and since then it's never been a problem. And I just love that, because I believe that this is exactly what has to happen. Like if you just own, like, okay, I am this person who's gonna be late, and if this is what I want to communicate, if I communicate that, like, look, let's meet at 5, but I'm probably gonna be late, then people have different, maybe this is a wrong example, but it's people have a very different expectation, because you're owning your truth. You're not pretending that you're gonna be on time and then not be there, you know. And you also don't feel bad about it, because you know, like, oh, this is who I am, and I accepted that, and it's fine, because if people want to see me, they will still accept this part of me. because they know what kind of value comes with it, you know?
Yes, very interesting point. So from what I hear, it's all about, as you said, it's not about what we're presenting, it's about what we're hiding. So all these things that we don't want to be are kind of firing back at us, from what I hear, right? So if we're trying to avoid presenting a certain aspect, the job interviewer might just see right through us and feels, oh, there's something she's hiding. Or if it's, oh, we're trying to be on point, we're really trying, but our identity might be yet based on, oh my God, I'm always this person being late. And no matter what we're doing, the subconscious mind is putting it into practice and we're going to be late. So how to really accept these aspects of us. I think that's a very interesting point, and I can also relate to that from my experience with my own business, because I had this idea in my head that a businesswoman needs to be kind of perfect, you know, she needs to be organized, she needs to be on time, she needs to be able to have her set appointments, write her bills, la 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 la. And I had in many little aspects, I had insecurities. So I was fighting so much with myself. Oh, I don't know if I don't have a schedule. Can I really make an appointment? And I was driving myself crazy with these little details, so that they became actually big things that blocked the road, although it was very minor aspects that none of my clients was actually really caring about. But why do you think do we do that? Like, why do we let such a small thing as being late become a main part of our identity? And how can we actually free our voice there?
Yeah, I was kind of going towards it, but you know me, like I always detract from like the main point, and there's so many like stories in the background. But yeah, the way to free yourself from this, I believe, is by owning it and not hating yourself for it. Because what you're describing here is that basically it's so ridiculous when you think about it. You don't even feel bad for being late. It's not like you feel bad for being late. You feel bad for what other people might think you are. So it's back to the belonging again. We are so terrified of not belonging. We're so terrified of rejection that we actually, reject ourselves from other people's eyes. You know what I mean? Like, I project that you will reject me because I was late, but I didn't ask you. Like, hey, Sylvia, do you care if I'm late 5 minutes? And maybe you're like, okay, no, it's actually fine. I'm also a little bit late, so it's good to know, you know. So it's always about this, trusting that other people still see you or recognize you for your truth, for your truth, rather than for what they hope you would be. And this is where I want to say, like, kind of the ultimate truth of it all, of this topic, of course. And this is something that I think people would find helpful. In my life, in my journey, and in my readings and stuff, I found out that, or I really connect to this, and I think this is the truth, that people are not attracted to anything but confidence. And if you have confidence about whatever it is that you do or are, people are gonna recognize you because it's honest, because it's authentic, because it's real. And by confidence, I mean owning it. So if I'm late, I don't try to apologize for it. I don't lower myself by saying like, oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I wasn't late. Of course, this is when you're still a respectful person and you don't just show up late and say like, what's up? It's about still respecting people, but saying like, you know, I'm often late, so I'm sorry if this is gonna happen, but you know, this is just kind of But maybe being late is not the best example because it easily leans towards being disrespectful. But I think it's more about like the way we communicate, what we say. If I was to apologize for everything I say, because you know me, but for people who don't know me, I'm very strict in the way I communicate. I'm very direct, and a lot of people find this extremely challenging. Just like a fly. And that can be a big trigger for me because, of course, if I had periods, or when I had periods of being a little bit lower in self-esteem, or when I am, because it's, you know, it shifts, it goes up and down, then I can try to alter myself, and you know, but if I if I feel strong and I can communicate in the way I want, I just don't have to apologize for who I am. And this is the tip that I kind of discovered when I was very young. I think this was very young to have to realize, like, okay, I need to get out of this feeling of being afraid of how would people react.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry, now I have to apologize. I have to switch on the socket because it's different here in Poland, so that we're not running out of battery. One moment.
I can actually speak in the meantime.
Yes. Yes, here we go.
Okay, that was really fast.
Yeah, I love that point that you made.
Yeah, just let me finish the thought. That I discovered that it's very important for me to not be as affected by what other people might think, because I'm projecting, it's not real. So it's also about understanding that, like, well, whatever it is that you think people might say is not real until you ask them. So, you know, my practice became just throwing myself into situations where I am allowing people to reject me. And what I mean by that is that I would say what I want to say, I will act the way I want to act, and actually just throw myself into this potential rejection and respond to it accordingly. So, of course, this might seem like, oh, you're gonna get hurt, but aren't you hurt by being rejected when you do all this work to not be rejected and still get rejected? Isn't this like way harder and longer, you know? And you think you're building something, and there's like a connection, and a person is like really responding to you, but are they responding to you or the impression you're trying to make, you know? And then in the end you're rejected, but it's way harder. It's like, you know, you're learning the hard way when you could just really start from being fully you. And of course, this is like, I've come a long way. So now I'm at the point where people often, I see them responding to me and being like, what is it with your outfits? Like, why are you trying to scream so hard? Like, because they become challenged by this. But the reason why they're becoming challenged by this is not because of what I do. It's because of how they see themselves in me. So I'm helping them, even though it's a little bit backwards, and it might feel like, oh, you just like feeding your ego. But what I'm doing actually is I'm just being I'm kind of owning my light. I had this beautiful conversation with my friend about like how if we all just really shine our light, nobody's gonna get challenged by your light, because their light is equally stronger. It's just different. Like, maybe I shine pink and somebody else shines green, and it's great because then we interact and we can, you know, connect and become something beautiful together. But if people are dimmed by this like feeling of fear of expressing themselves, because again, like, do you want to live by fear? Do you want to act on fear? And this is, for me, acting on fear. If you want to say a comment but you don't do it, because you're projecting certain response, but I strongly believe that there is a reason why you have those thoughts. And of course, this is about, like, again, self-work and connecting to yourself. Like, if you just have a lot of hate to say to people, maybe that's not, maybe you're not ready, you know, to become as free as you want to be. So maybe there's a lot of work that you have to do before you can truly, like, express yourself, because I've been there, and I know that when you express yourself in a way that is hurtful for other people, you will end up hating yourself because it goes straight back to you. So it's also about, like, knowing where you are, and really observing, like, how do people respond to me? Is it in the end, is it good? Do they feel like I'm teaching them something, or do they feel attacked? So yeah, you know, it's about sensitivity and also, like, understanding. But to a certain degree, I believe that if we're sensitive people, if we're empathic, and we truly connect to our expression, people are gonna feel attracted to that, even though they're challenged by it, if that makes sense.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Wow, there were many really good points. I love these conversations with you, Vera, because every time you're blowing my mind with different train of thoughts that lead to another thing, and that create an awareness in the back of my head, and they slowly sink in. I'm trying to catch out a couple of points that I really liked. So what I liked was when you said that you might be confronted with your own projection, and it might be not even real. And then you kind of solve this issue with being late by just saying, like, hey, do you have a problem with me being 5 minutes late? I'm, you know, and the other person might say, no, actually it's fine. I also have something to do. So 5 minutes is actually suiting me even better. So this and then combined with that, you said later that why don't we just ask rather than perfecting ourselves? So we might think, okay, in order to solve this problem, I take all these effort, maybe coachings, I don't know, deep work, inner work, to manage this problem of being late. And but you still might fight with a projection. So
exactly.
I really like that.
I believe that it could be that we actually, because I believe that we only fully grow in love and like recognition. So and it's also in our own world, like, if we really love who we are, then we can become better. But if we try to fight ourselves in our own thoughts, like, oh, I feel so bad for this, why did I say this, this was so stupid, this person's probably feeling bad, we become this hater inside our head, and we betray ourselves. We become a critic that is honestly not necessary. Like, I believe that we already have so much rejection out there that we don't have to reject ourselves on the top of that. And yeah, I really wish that people would just communicate, just ask, just say what they think. And this is one of my practices that I do, like, on daily basis. I try to communicate even things that I don't necessarily think is important, but, you know, if you're a sensitive person and you see a lot of things, you see somebody's face, you think instantly, if you have a little bit low self-esteem, or if you just, you know, sensitive to other people and how they respond and what they're feeling, then you often just find yourself asking those questions in your head, like, oh, did I say something that made them upset? And then rather than asking that, you just create this whole universe of, like, oh, it's probably this, and they felt this because of this, and all of a sudden you're creating this person's response, not knowing, not giving them, because I think it's almost to the degree that it's disrespectful, because you don't ask them what they actually think. Maybe they don't even know, and you could help them to see what their processes are. You're taking this opportunity from them by projecting and acting on your projection. So what I do is I see something and then I ask very directly, and a lot of people feel intimidated by it often. But that's because I go a little bit further and I do like this, deep experiment, or not experiments, but I just like ask things that are a little bit difficult to answer or difficult to even like comprehend that somebody can ask. But I'm talking about simple things, like let's say that your partner is making food and then you say something like, oh, I don't know, whatever, like I don't have an example now, but then you see something in their face and then you project like, oh, they probably thought this. So instead of that, why don't you just ask like, hey, I just saw that you your face changed. Do you know if there is anything that happened?
Yes.
You
So,
know?
so this, what you're pointing out here is actually this practice of radical honesty, right? This, okay, something you've observed and then pointing it out and asking. I myself, I also completely underestimated the power of asking, and it was a big milestone, and it still is in my personal development, because it really opens doors. I know that you have done a lot of work, and you pointed out some stuff here and there with Woman Circle that you're taking care of. And I know you have several projects going on with intuitive singing, and with a community space that you created. Also, I know that you're very active in the Burning Man culture. What did these communities mean to you? And would you say, because I know you're an artist, and I get from you very creative energy, and this maybe the trust of an artist into the creative process to just play around a little bit, because sometimes things might go very well, and maybe some things turn out not so well. How was it for you with your creative process, and what supported you on your journey? Like, can you take us a little bit into your life, into your experiences, about how it looked for you? What were you searching for, and how one thing led up to another, maybe community-wise? Or
So you're asking about how did I develop this personal freedom throughout
right.
all these communities? Okay. It's such a big question, so I feel like I don't have enough hours to say. Yeah, but as I said, I'm a little bit extreme example, because that's also when you said like maybe I could tell people like how to do this, or like what's the trick. I want to point out that it's very important that nobody thinks that this is gonna work for them, because we just don't know. Everyone is different and they have their own journey. And what I can say is that those things that I'm saying, like just ask questions, dare to ask questions. This is the thing that is completely like ultimate for everyone, even though you're not an artist, you're not maybe as creative with your questions or whatever. And this goes for everybody, I believe. Like just trying to ask, communicate in any way, like just approach someone and look at them, try to find connection. But yeah, when it comes to me, I'm a little bit of crazy crazy example, because I just have this craving for like the extremities in some ways, especially when it comes to like connection. And I love challenge, and I love challenging people and seeing them their response. And I know that somehow it's my addition to the world, that I throw this seed in somebody's mind, and then sometimes I become the person they hate, but I believe that this is necessary for them to also understand what happened, and they will eventually grow from it, even though it's at my cost in some way. So I just needed to detach myself from taking the cost personally, So the cost of rejection, I mean, and this has been the difficult journey, because in order to be able to not take the cost of being rejected personally, you need to feel enough support and love from people around you. And I think that goes for everyone. And sadly, a lot of people live in the limited belief of that they only need one person to really see them. So they don't allow themselves to be authentic, starting from their parents. I've talked to many people in my community also about this. It's a big topic, how we play a certain role in front of our parents, and of course I understand. I've been there. I know exactly what it is. There's all of those stories, and yeah, all of this luggage of being like daughter or son. I lost the word. Child, that's the word. Being a child of someone, and then still trying to fulfill their expectations, or maybe fight them. It's very complex. But starting from our parents, we don't act ourselves with our parents. It's very often, right? And when I tell people that I'm able to speak to my mom in the same exact way as I speak to you, they become a little bit sad, because everyone has this need to really connect to, especially to people who really know you throughout your whole life. And I'm not saying that your parent can become your good friend. That's not what I'm saying. And maybe that shouldn't be the aim, because it's maybe we are so different from our parents. But there's something about there's something powerful there, because our parents can't reject us. So maybe it's a very good opportunity for us to truly act ourselves, and know that no matter what we do, it will still be fine, because they are conditioned to love us, because we are part of them. And I'm not saying that you should experiment with your parents. It's just an invitation to think of how do you communicate with people who really know you, who really love you unconditionally. And are you perhaps altering your true self even to them? Because if that's the case, then, well, how can you expect to be truly honest with your partner if you can't even be truly honest with other people who really know you, and yourself, perhaps, and so it's also almost like wounding yourself to act in a certain way. And that's why these family dinners become really difficult and heavy, because you have to play a certain role. And honestly, I don't recommend it necessarily, because everyone has a different journey, but I would rather be rejected by my aunts or whoever, because they will come back. That's another thing. It often feels like they're gonna reject you because you're too bold. This comment you said was too, I don't know, politically incorrect, or it was too much. But people change. You have to give them a chance to grow, because by limiting your expression, you're also taking away this chance of them to see themselves and you. So if I'm saying something that is very challenging, I often do that. I say something that is very challenging, maybe politically, to people, and then I see their faces. They're like, "Whoa, can you even say that?" But just this moment when they think this, like, "Oh, like I wonder, like, how is it that she can say that, and I can't?" Even just this, it's such a powerful thing to do. Um, that even if they completely disagree, it's about this kind of boldness that I believe people should have a little bit more. And
Yes.
boldness to dare to do something.
Yes.
And it can be very, very mild boldness. Maybe it's just maybe it's just an outfit, that you put on. This is something that I actually recommend, and I've read a lot of people say this, that it's a very good practice if you really want to become more connected with yourself or not as affected by other people. It's a very good start to just get an outfit that you like, and you wished you could wear, but you don't dare, and wear it basically. And I really recommend this because this is big. It's a big opportunity, and I think a lot of people respond so well, or get much uh, healthier in their self-expression through burning community, because one of the principles of burning community is radical self-expression. And in that principle, we basically are asked to try to dare to be us, like fully you, in the way you act, the way you wear. And a lot of people find it like the most natural to express themselves through outfits. So in the burner community, you'll see a lot of really incredible outfits. But a lot of people are challenged by that, and they say like, well, I don't have to like put on a costume to express myself, but it's not about that. Like you can wear whatever you would wear, and still, like, maybe that's your most authentic self-expression, and then you have to defend that. But yeah, it's a recommendation from me.
Mm-hmm.
to dare to put on an outfit that you really wished you could wear, but you're maybe a little bit insecure, and you're not sure how people are going to respond. And it's a good practice to just wear it to the store, not just go to a party, because then you will really have to hold yourself. But just go to the supermarket in it and see how you feel, how people respond, and get all the looks from the street.
Mm-hmm.
And see if maybe this is difficult, but you can still it will give you power. It will give you this sense of like, I'm doing it. So it's a very powerful practice.
So from what I hear, it's about expression, and in many ways. So one way can be your outfit, because it helps you even if you're not able to express verbally who you want to be. It's a way to still project and show something to the world, and to experiment with your self-expression and to get yourself seen. And then at the very beginning, you were speaking about how important it is to open your world and open your mind from this idea to only be seen by one person. And as we grow up, we are mainly seen by our parents. Then maybe we have a couple of friends, maybe we have an intimate, committed relationship. And for many people, this idea, especially when it comes to relationship, is this: I need to be seen by this one significant other. And from what you said earlier on, I got that it even this person can only see you as much as you allow to see yourself, or as deeply as you connected to yourself. And so I really like this point that you said, that okay, liberate your world and allow yourself to be seen through multiple people, whether it's friends, whether it's colleagues or your community or whoever. And as we grow, the way we want to be seen, or the way what we want to express, might change. So I liked also that when you were speaking about that part, because it also, in my eyes, it's from my experience, it's so important as you grow to see how you're changing, and to be able to express this change allows the people around you to either adapt, or to maybe even pull back if they feel, oh wow, she's now so different than she's been a year ago, let's say, right? Like in personal development, we see some people change super fast, and some people might stay in the environment that in the same environment for a long time. So they might have a completely different timing, or they might have a completely different level of what they express. How would you say, how can I set this question? How much would you say is the level of expression connected to your personal growth, or this ability? How important is it to be able to express yourself as you grow and change?
I think this attachment that you pointed out, this attachment to remain in the known, basically like, oh, those people already saw me, they already recognize my value, I didn't have to prove anything, is the biggest enemy there. Because throughout my life, one of the things that I'm seeing is that I often just like removed myself entirely from my communities, because I saw that we're not matching anymore. And this is a little bit difficult, because I also believe in long-term relationships. But I think that the problem is that we often connect based on irrelevant things, rather than connecting on our true self. Because, okay, so for me, there is something that I like to call the core of a person. And that's just kind of this things that we don't really change, that it's not possible, or it's possible maybe to alter it for a while, but I believe this core of a person is something that just stays with us since we're children all the way. And the more connected to this core we are, the more healthy and kind of happy we are. And those are the things that I believe we should connect from with others. And the more connected with our authentic self-expression we are, the more connected to our core we are. So then we allow people to really see that, rather than like the things we build on the top of that. So okay, I can build this passion for board games, and people recognize me for that, and I connect with people who also like board games. But then to a certain degree, if I become this like board game person, they don't see the full of me, you know. So that's why kind of this limited communities, I mean limited in a way that, like, let's take religion, it's often limited to a certain kind of frame, that okay, here we talk about this and we act in this way because that's expected. It kind of limits us to act in a certain way.
So from what I hear, is it very,
Mhm.
sorry that I interrupt you here, is it very, how important is it to be in different communities, or yeah, like how can we maximize our level of self-expressions?
I think one way is to kind of be curious about different communities, but another way is to constantly aim for meeting new people, because it doesn't have to be like one place, you know. And there are healthy communities out there that are not limited to like one thing. So either you can, or I think this is recommendable, either to be in several different communities that have something to do with different parts of you, or surround yourself with people who see the full picture of you, you know. And I think that's the most classic thing to do. We try to do that through having this one pack of friends, you know, who are always around us, like maybe 6 people, 5, it's kind of standard. And a lot of this is the problem with this is that often this limited amount of people doesn't allow us for our change, because we run into this fear of being rejected by this small group, and therefore we can't really explore, we can't really like spread our wings, because then we would feel like we have to limit ourselves to still be in it. So what I recommend and what I do is to trust, give people a little bit of trust that they already chose you, they already love you for who you are. And if you really trust that, don't don't act on fear. Just don't act on fear, like it's that simple. But if you really if you really give people a chance to learn the new you all the time, you might be surprised how people are really open to grow with you, you know. But by limiting your self-expression, by limiting, I often hear those comments like, oh, that's not what we do, or, you know, those people expect me to be this way because that's how we connected initially, and therefore I have, I'm expected to remain in this field. But you don't know that. You don't know how people would react to your changes. And I'm seeing this a lot in my women's circle, for example, because I've grown tremendously in the last year. And it's really beautiful to see how people, we just grow deeper, because we initially met from this very honest place. And therefore, no matter what I do, those people would see me. And if I kind of lose my path, if I become a little bit lost in some way, or detract from myself, I also need those people who really see me to point out, to help me, to tell me that what they're seeing, you know. And if we don't have that trust, if we don't trust those people with being fully truthful and honest in how we speak, how we act, then who is there to show us like what's going on, you know?
Yes.
So
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that what you said. Sorry to interrupt you. I like what you said about the give the people a little bit of trust that they initially chose you, and that I think that's very, very powerful. Yeah, Vera, we're almost coming to an end of this interview. I know with you I could have interviews for hours and hours, so I'm sure we will have one again soon. As we're coming to an end, I wanted to ask you if people would like to work with you, or if people feel inspired by you, how can they get in contact with you? What are you offering? Yeah, how can they reach out to you?
Big question, because because of the way I work lately, I haven't really been able to put like a like a frame on this is what I do and or whatever. But I would love to. I love talking to people. I love to see them, and I believe that I have the empathy or the opportunity to guide. However, this is not kind of what I do. I'm more like working in real life. But yeah, I guess I invite everyone to find me on Facebook and
Okay.
send me a message.
Right. And if they happen to be around Norway, they can maybe come to your
I co-run 2 events, and I run by myself this one event. It's a communal space that I opened with 5 other people from my community. It's called The Place. And it's a beautiful project that I've been dreaming about for a really long time. But I'm not gonna get into this now. But yeah, this is definitely somewhere, if people are in Oslo, they can definitely find it. We just started though, so we have a Facebook page. I think I have to ask my coworkers if it's alright. I should check if it's up and running, but we are just setting it up now. But yeah, a lot of people contact me on Messenger. I have quite a lot of contacts also on WhatsApp, and we just record each other messages. But I think this is the best way to just reach out to me on Messenger. I'm called Vera Core on Facebook. This is my artistic name, and I've been using it here in Norway. A lot of my friends don't even know my full name, just think that's my name, which is beautiful because it became my name sort of. So that's good. So yeah, reach out to me if you would like to have a chat. That would be nice. I would love to challenge you.
Yes. Yes. No, I love that approachability of you, and at the same time your sharp mind, and there were many things that gave me thought, especially as me. I'm here in Breslau because I'm joining a live action role play, my first live action role play. And I'm very excited, and I got out of this interview already many more ideas and the courage to step in more into my role, and maybe also take sometimes being the bad guy or the bad girl, in order to show somebody something maybe, and to really own it. So what I also take from the interview is that the only thing that people do really connect to is confidence, and to really own whatever it is, whether you want to be the bad guy, whether you want to I don't know, maybe want to make some drama, want to be very friendly, want to be liked, like just going with all these expressions rather than limiting ourselves to just one thing. So I took many impulses from this interview. Thank you very much, Vera.
I want to say one last thing.
That's what I wanted to say. If you have one last thing to say for our
last words, I think important thing to say here is, and I said this to Sylvia many times, but I invite you to not be afraid of being rejected, because I believe that this is an opportunity. By being rejected, you eliminate from your life people who are not supposed to be in your life. And that's a very good thing, because we have so many people out there it's incredible. Like the ocean of people you might meet is endless. So what I believe is important that when you enter a room, you see who you might connect with, and it's completely okay if you don't connect with anyone in the whole room, because obviously it's not the right room. And I believe that it's very important that people don't strive for being accepted by just anyone, because we're not supposed to be liked by all. We're supposed to be liked by ourselves, first of all, and then people who see this true self in us and no one else really. People would get challenged by you, people would get annoyed by you, and hateful towards you, but that's okay. That's completely good, actually. You just need to allow yourself to remember that you have people who love you, and that won't change no matter what you do, because they know your true self. And even if it's just your mom, that's completely fine. Because as you connect to yourself more, you will attract the right kind of people to your life. But that's just a process. And have courage. Have courage to be rejected, and just know that it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Because eventually it will lead you to be surrounded by the people who actually are supposed to be in your life, rather than some random people who responded to your expression in the moment, or behavior that you delivered that is not fully authentic.
So it's rather the joy of rejection as a stepping stone to greater connections.
Joy of rejection, wow. Yes. Please reject me.
No, thank you for this great last word. I don't want to say anything to that. I think it's I don't know about the people that are watching us or listening to us, but I can feel in my body that these words really opened a space. So I think it will be really good to just listen to the interview again. And sometimes words can really open these realms to another consciousness, and to really start this process of allowing connection and not being afraid of rejection, all these things. So thank you very much for your words. I could really feel them in an opening way. And I wish you, I wish that you reach out more to people, and that more people can find you, because your work is amazing. And I'm very excited to hear about this third space in the future.
Thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, it's really nice. I also feel a little bit energized for the day. So let's go.
Let's go. Okay. Thank you so much,
I'll
Vera.
talk to you soon. Thank you so much, and thank you to all for listening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.